Good Tuesday morning. Welcome to the WLB Community Voice on News Talk 1330, FM 106.3, streaming live online at newstalk1330.com. This morning we are on the News Talk 1330 WLBP Facebook page, and you can see my handsome young guest sitting across the table from me, and his name is Philip Singleton. He is running for Congress, one of five candidates running for the District 3 House of Representatives, 15 counties.
That's right.
Am I right? See, well, good. I said that today during my news, so I was hoping I was semi-accurate on that. Again, Philip Singleton, at least the second time he's been on the program during this campaign season. And early voting ends this Friday. No voting on Saturday, no early voting on Saturday before Election Day, which is Tuesday, May the 21st. Remember, early voting opportunities, West Georgia Technical College, the former West Georgia Technical College in Carroll County. And also Powell Park in Villa Rica for early voting. And then on Tuesday, May the 21st, you will go within your precinct and go to your polling place to vote. No voting at the elections office, the makeshift elections office here in Carroll County that day. So, Philip Singleton, back on the program. It was. You try to remember a little bit. And I mean, that's it. I'm spent for the whole 28 minutes now, so I will just, loft it to you to fill it, and I have no doubt that you can.
I can. Got a lot. I like to talk.
I want to say Battle of the Beards this morning, too.
Yours is better than mine, so you're winning.
It's longer. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's better. Well, give us the backstory, Philip. I mean, most of us know you, followed you, and you've been on the program several times over the last decade. But give us the backstory and get us to where we are right now at this point where you are running for Congress.
Yeah, I mean, it's an important week, I guess. I guess something important's happening next week. So a week from today, I guess, the primary. So look, most of your listeners know me already. I'm just a former Army soldier. I did 3 combat tours, Iraq and Afghanistan, and 2 Bronze Stars and 5 Air Medals, and got out of the Army and still felt like I was being called to serve. So made the crazy leap to get into politics, which no sane person would do. I always joke that I used to have a lot of friends, and then I ran for office. My life was peaceful and happy, and then I ran for public office. But served in the state house, and it was just an honor to serve and fight for the things that we care about, and fought for safe girl sports and anti-sanctuary cities and Second Amendment protection and stuff like that. So, but man, I just found that it's an uphill battle. I mean, you're rowing against a stream. So like all the things that everybody's always frustrated about electing people to office that say they care about things, and then they seem to get into office and they don't do anything about the things they, pretend to care about when they're campaigning. I have found that to be exceedingly true.
Well, why is that? I mean, you just get secure, and then other people are supporting you so much once you're up there, and you don't need constituents anymore? No?
Yeah, they just care about the win, right? They'll say anything to get elected, and then once they're elected, it takes an act of God to remove somebody from office. Congress has got a 12% approval rating and a 99% reelection rate. I mean, just the math, and once you're elected, you can use the MRA, and there's taxpayer funds that you have access to your office, and you do constituent services. So all of a sudden you're doing favors, and you end up like Sanford Bishop that there's nobody in his district that hasn't had a favor done by his office. So it's like he's unbeatable at the ballot box. It seems, and so sometimes it doesn't matter. We have a current congressman that's been there for 8 years that, voted against warrants, voted for warrantless searches and against FISA, and has voted for every omnibus bill. I've been campaigning for the last 5 months. There's not a single voter in the district that thinks we should be passing omnibus spending bills or continuing resolutions. But he was very safe and secure, and if he had stayed in office, he'd have gotten reelected very easily.
So would you have challenged him this time around?
No, it's an almost impossibility to beat an incumbent.
Mm-hmm. Unless there's like a dramatic scandal, and even then, it seems like it.
Or if you have millions and millions of dollars, like but that's the catch-22, right? If you can go put $10 million in your own race, then maybe you have a chance because it's about educating the public. But then I would ask you the question: are you someone that really represents the people that you're electing? Because Congress is supposed to be a representative body. In other words, we should be sending someone from Georgia's 3rd district that's from the district and truly represents the people in the district. And I'm not sure that you would get that if you had a...
Now, you're working in D.C. right now.
I do.
Now, does that not make you an insider?
Well, that's an interesting perspective. So is every congressman an insider? I mean, I know some information from D.C., but I wouldn't say it makes me an insider. So there's a uniparty and then there's a not uniparty. There's, a lot of people talk about Republican and Democrat. That's not the real struggle. The real struggle we have is there's a small set of group, largely a lot of the Freedom Caucus members, some other people like Thomas Massey that are up in D.C. that are fighting for constitutional governance and that are actually fighting to give power to the individuals and to people. And then the bulk of the rest of D.C. is up there fighting for their own power, their own influence. The kind of the quip is that's the uniparty. I don't know that I like that terminology. I don't think it's really particularly accurate, but there's the bureaucracy for sure. And you see that in D.C. every day. And I've only been up there, not even, since last January, so about 15 months. And I remind people every day, the only reason I'm up there is so I could keep serving, because I was in the state house and doing a dang good job of sticking to our principles and passing conservative legislation until the Republican Speaker of the House drew me out of my district to punish me for being too conservative. And so that's just the nature of politics: is if they can't beat you at the ballot box, they'll try to cheat. Drawing out.
Well, so would you consider yourself a rebel in that stance? I mean, and I've asked this for a decade. I mean, is it beneficial for us to have a representative who maybe has a harder time getting things approved? But I mean, I think it's admirable, and we like that. But when it's harder to get anything accomplished, is that?
Well, you say it's harder, but I passed more bills as a freshman legislator than anybody in the state house. So it's like, the establishment would want to tell you that it's harder, that if you stand for your principles, you won't be effective. That's the word they'll use. It's like, well, do you want to be effective? Well, then sit down, shut up, and don't represent the people that elected you, and then we'll let you be effective.
But being that effective, is that always right? Is that always what we're looking for?
It's a misnomer anyway. I mean, look at Senator Greg Dolezal would be another great example. Like, he and I started the Freedom Caucus together, and he was the first chair, and I was the vice chair of the Freedom Caucus. He was rated the most effective state senator in the state. I passed more legislation than any freshman. And shockingly, we somehow managed to do that while also voting against bad budgets and standing for conservative principles. So it's just a flat-out lie that you cannot be effective. Now, there are some people that choose to not be effective and also are rebels. Largely, their objective is media attention and fame. And that is different than being a principled conservative.
I may touch on somebody who could be considered that here later on in the program. Immigration, is that the biggest issue? Is that the biggest thing that we're talking about this go-around?
It's the most emotional issue for sure. So the most emotional issue on the right is immigration. The most emotional conversation on the left has been abortion. And so it's definitely the emotional issue. I still think the biggest issue is debt. I think that's the most important thing that we need to talk about. But immigration is very easy. There's very few people you talk to on the campaign trail, including members of the left, that don't think we have a problem with our immigration policy. And so that's kind of the safe conversation to have. But it's amazing. We just passed a minibus, so a $1.6 trillion minibus out of the Republican Congress that nobody's talking about, that was higher spending levels than Nancy Pelosi's last budget. And so the Republicans are spinning us into oblivion, just like the Democrats were. For the first year in our nation's history, our interest payments exceeded our defense spending this year. Mm-hmm. In about 15 years, our interest payments on our debt are going to exceed our entire revenue of the federal government. But nobody's talking about it, and it's a crisis. So it's something we got to talk about.
With that omnibus, does that get us through October at this point? Or is that basically just
It'll finish out the fiscal year, and then the question is: are we going to have another? Are they going to do a preempt? Are they going to wait to the lame duck and do another continuing resolution? Or are they going to try to pass appropriations bills? It looks like they're not going to do the 12 appropriations bills, so we'll probably end up with another massive limit, save, grow style, or Pelosi's massive budget she passed in December right before the changeover. I can't remember what they called it, Destroying America or whatever they called it, Rebuilding America. Inflation and Creation Act, that's what it was.
If once the omnibus is put out, has been put out there to people to vote, if it's the only option to shut down the government, or is it, realistically, the option would be to get get a balanced budget, but that's not going to happen like in the initial turn.
Yeah.
So is that, if that's it, I can't detail the one that was brought forward, in April of this year. But if something similar was brought forward in October and you were the Congress, what do you just vote against it?
Absolutely.
Even if it results in shutting down the government.
100,000%. So the first of all, the whole brinksmanship over shutting down the government is largely misspoken, misstated. So there's defense, for example, your troops still get paid. There's so many mandatory spending items that don't change when you go through a partial government shutdown, and it would be a partial one because it all depends on which appropriations bills have passed to that point. And there's some, like, we always pass a defense bill, we always pass a veterans bill to make sure that veterans still get services, right? So it's like, but yeah, at some point if you just continue to go along with what Washington is doing, then budgets are going to continue to grow, and it's going to get worse and worse. So I would absolutely vote against another no continuing resolutions and no minibuses. I will only vote for appropriations, but I will only vote yes on appropriations bills if they're good and they balance the budget. So I have said before I won't vote for anything that's not an appropriations bill, and people will be like, "Oh, you're not going to vote for the bills?" I said, "No, that's not what I meant. What I meant is I will vote no against any omnibus or minibus."
How many people did vote no this last time? Was it a handful?
No, about 120, I believe. So the last one, just barely, I think less than 6 more Republicans voted for it than against it. And so Congress is shifting, and the fiscal conservatives are kind of, I don't know how to say it, but kind of at their wits' end. And you've seen the last 2 major bills that have crossed the finish line, the FISA reform and some other things, have passed with more Democrat support than Republican support. In the last 2 years, more Republicans voted against it than for it.
Let me wrap up this first segment with this question. There's been at least 3 immigration bills that have got attention over the last year and a half or whatever. Do you think, that it's just a show at this point? We're talking about, we're saying, hey, people are being killed because of the border system right now with fentanyl come across and people are dying. But do you believe that there's anybody in Congress right now who wants to do something, who wants to get something done right now? I don't want to say anybody. There could, that's not fair to ask. But to get something going this year, we feel like if it was such a big issue, which everybody's saying it is, why are we not getting something done?
Yeah, everybody in Congress wants to get something done about it. Even the Democrats want to get something done about it, just not Democrat leadership. So there's a discontinuity between the leadership and the actual rank and file members. And it's the same thing in the Republican Party. We want H.R. 2. We passed H.R. 2 last year. The compromise bills that came out of the Senate were trash. And they actually codified a very high level of illegal immigration before there could be executive action. So it actually went backwards in our ability to fight illegal immigration. And then it also increased significantly the amount of funding for not for fighting illegal immigration, but for transporting illegal immigrants across the country. Right, which is why Biden keeps trying to throw money at the border. Every time he talks about throwing money at the border, he is not trying to stop illegal immigration. All the money he wants to put in the border is to help facilitate asylum and send people across the country. And so, of course, we're going to oppose those types of bills, right? We want H.R. 2, which doesn't require more money. It just requires the 94 Biden executive orders that are destroying our country be rescinded and codifies into law those Trump executive orders that actually helped make our border secure, like remain in Mexico. And that's what we have to do. Congress wants to do that. There are Democrat members that are getting throttled in their elections too, because illegal immigration is a clear and present danger to the national security of our country. So for some reason, though, leadership and the uniparty, again, I hate using that word, but leadership doesn't want that issue to be resolved because they want it for the campaign trail. And it baffles Congress, and it's ticking everybody in Congress off.
Philip Singleton, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program. He is one of 5 candidates running for U.S. Congress District 3. Pretty much, 15 counties in West Georgia and some kind of in Central Georgia. We'll take our first break right here. Any questions or comments, please post those to the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page, and I'll try and share those during our show. 8:44 right now. Community Voice brought to you by Tanner Health System and Oak Mountain Academy.
Health is a journey. It's making better choices, even when it's not easy. It's taking care of yourself and the people you love. At Tanner Health System, we're there for you with every step, with primary care, heart care, cancer care, women's care, orthopedics, surgical services, and so much more. We're dedicated to helping you live and feel your best. So let's get on that journey to health. You've got places to be for many years to come. Find us at tanner.org.
Oak Mountain Academy is an innovative school of academic excellence celebrating over 61 years. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school, inviting you to join us on the mountain to see our mission and vision in action. Academic excellence, a faith-based environment, and dynamic opportunities are just a few of the reasons our families choose Oak Mountain Academy. Academic scholarships and tuition assistance are available. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us. Discover your journey at OMA. Prepare, explore, and achieve.
Welcome back to the WLBB Community Voice here on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3, streaming live online at newstalk1330.com. My guest this morning, Philip Singleton, one of 5 candidates running for U.S. Congress. Represent the House District 3 in West Georgia and Central Georgia. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we have early voting going on in every county in this district. And Election Day is Tuesday, a week from today, as you said, May the 21st. Ex-post from you.
What'd I say this time?
Under Donald Trump, America was energy independent. In Congress, Philip Singleton will bury the Green New Deal and pursue an all of the above energy strategy that makes America a net energy exporter and dramatically lowers costs on hard-working families. What does it mean to be energy independent? Because I've read stories to where somebody defines it this way, define it that way. And I've tried to touch on each one of those so I can say, we are this or we aren't that, and we are this at this point. But energy independence, what does that mean to you?
And we need to be a net exporter. So I'll give a very specific Georgia example. With Plant Vogtle 3 and 4 opening this year, actually 3 opened late last year and 4 just opened this year, we are a net energy exporter, which means we are selling our power generated to South Carolina, Alabama, and Florida. Right. That's what being an exporter means, which means when prices of crude oil rise or when coal goes up or if we have, we have a big problem with our solar farms, guess what? We're still doing just fine. And we can't be held over a barrel by any of our neighboring states on energy costs. They can't drive the energy costs up and put us behind the power curve. That's the problem. What's happening. American foreign policy is in shambles under Biden. A large part of that is actually due to our energy situation. We're not drilling where we should be drilling. We always joke about drill, baby, drill, because everyone loves saying that. But it's not just drilling; it's an all of the above energy strategy. The left is finally realizing how powerful nuclear is, and it's actually fun to watch a lot of these anti-nuclear activists kind of walk their story back because, shockingly, they all realize that nuclear is the cleanest, most efficient, safest energy power out there. And it took Governor Brian Kemp in Georgia to come in and build, these Vogtle 3 and 4. That's the first new nuclear power plants in the United States in over 20 years. It
still feels scary. Just think about it. It still kind of feels. I've read all that too, and do believe it just feels scary.
The technology is greatly advanced, though, right? Yeah. So, we're not going to see another Chernobyl because the cooling systems have changed and the technology that controls it has changed. Now they use closed loop, infotech systems, right? Because you're all, what if they hack the grid and all of that is now self-contained and sealed. Don't worry, it's more secure than our elections, but it's So anyway, that's what energy independence means. It's unleashing the American economy and stop handcuffing us. Because when you unleash the American economy, America is safer and the world can't catch up. And then the world notices that.
Time right now, 8:49. Our guest is Philip Singleton, candidate for U.S. Congress. President Joe Biden said that he would halt shipments of bombs and other munitions to Israel if it launched a major military invasion into the southern Gaza city of Rafah. The warning comes as Israeli forces appeared poised to conduct more operations in the densely packed city of 1.7 million people, despite repeated warnings not to do so by the U.S. government. How do you feel about holding back munitions and funding? Based on that,
I kind of chuckle a little bit because I seem to recall a former president by the name of Trump getting impeached over a phone call where he supposedly hinted that they may withhold aid to a foreign country if they didn't investigate criminal activity. Does anybody else remember that? Now you've got a sitting president physically telling a nation at war that they're going to withhold critical aid to them if they don't do something the way he wants them to do. And the irony is pretty thick there for anybody that pays attention politically, because what Biden is doing right now is 10 times more egregious and much, much more specific than what the left impeached Donald Trump over.
And I don't know if I'm making an argument here for that. Bush had held back loans. And Reagan had even threatened to hold back. But Yeah, I don't know. With Biden, he's like saying, "Hey, we don't want you to kill innocent people. We want you to have a different strategy."
I mean, I'm not allowed to say that on the radio probably, but like obviously we don't want to kill innocent people. But what he's holding back is precision-guided munitions. So Israel's actions aren't going to change. They're going to defend their people and their country. And so we withhold precision-guided munitions. They're going to use dumb bombs. They're going to drop dumb gravity bombs. And guess what's going to happen? More civilians are going to die. The actions aren't going to change because they're going to defend their country. They're sovereign. They have that authority and that right. They're allowed to defend themselves, and they're at war right now. So, we just sent a letter with my boss, Congressman Rich McCormick. We just sent a letter, I think 106 co-signers, 103 co-signers to the Biden administration demanding answers on why they're ignoring the will of Congress and withholding critical aid at a crucial time in the war. And the sad thing is we know exactly why. It's because Biden's trying to court far left liberal Palestinian activists to try to win a Michigan Senate race. And for him, it's all about politics. But that is the Biden administration in a nutshell. For 3 years, every single decision has been political. Every single decision.
How much does that affect our future relationship with Israel?
Of course it does.
To put that out there, how does it affect it?
Of course it does. Well, it's Israel and the United States. Our relationship is very strong. So we're going to survive a couple of bad decisions by an incompetent president. What it does, though, is it sends demand signals to the rest of the world, just like the Afghan withdrawal sent signals to Russia for the Ukraine invasion, just like our actions in northern Syria and northern Iraq have sent signals to China and their aggression in South America and South Africa. Like, the rest of the world pays attention to incompetence, and they use those as signals to determine the next move they're going to make on the chessboard. And they know with Biden as president, they're playing chess and we're playing checkers, and they're going to take advantage of that every single time.
Time right now is 8:52. Our guest this morning, Philip Singleton. He is one of 5 candidates running for Congress to represent District 3 in the House, in the U.S. House. I will actually look at our Facebook this time to see if you posted any questions or comments, and we'll come back with about 6 minutes. Community Voice brought to you by Tanner Health System and Oak Mountain Academy.
Health is a journey. It's making better choices, even when it's not easy. It's taking care of yourself and the people you love. At Tanner Health System, we're there for you with every step, with primary care, heart care, cancer care, women's care, orthopedics, surgical services, and so much more. We're dedicated to helping you live and feel your best. So let's get on that journey to health. You've got places to be for many years to come. Find us at tanner.org.
The AP Scholar Journey at Oak Mountain Academy is designed to provide students with a clearly defined advanced placement curriculum track to earn a series of distinctions upon graduation. This journey enables academically prepared students to pursue college-level studies throughout 17 AP courses in 5 subject categories while enrolled at OMA. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school, inviting you to journey with us on the mountain. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us. Discover your journey at OMA. Prepare, explore, and achieve.
(8:54). Welcome back to the WLBB Community Voice, News Talk 1330 FM 106.3. My name's Colin Worthington. My guest is Philip Singleton. He is, again, one of 5 candidates running for Congress. Election day is 1 week from today, May 21st, but early voting does go on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And check out gamyvoterpage.com to find out where you can vote early, and make sure which races you'll be able to vote on. A lot of changes over the last 4 or 5 years. I want to ask you this one, but then I want to try and give you a chance to give me the front door speech too here in this last segment. All right. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene officially triggered a vote on her motion to oust House Speaker Mike Johnson. I guess that was last week. She's saying that Johnson had not lived up to a single one of his promises he made as a Republican conference after he was elected to the top post back in October. I guess, how do you feel about her bringing that forward? How do you feel about Johnson's performance? Where would you be if you were in Congress at this point?
Yeah, I mean, so I was up there, so I listened to everything she said on the floor. And Thomas Massey is one of my favorite members of Congress, so I really like Thomas Massey, who seconded her motion. I think it was a huge mistake. It just showed weakness on the conference part. But look, everything she said about Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson's the most conservative speaker we've ever had. He's also a very genuinely good man. He's also done a very terrible job as speaker the last 140 days. And so it's a lot of that is learning curve. I think the problem with Marjorie's motion is that, first of all, she did it the way she did it for publicity. purposes, and it worked. I mean, you people want to give Marjorie grief, but she was in the front page of every newspaper for the last 2 weeks in America, and so she did what she wanted, and she probably raised $2 or $3 million off of it in fundraising. So, but everything she said in her speech was correct. I mean, she had salient points. But she forgets the second question, that it's the strategy we talked about earlier. Like, you can be a fiercely principled conservative, but you need to have strategic vision and plan. That's why I'm a Reagan conservative. You don't talk bad about other people. You talk bad about policies. Like, this policy is bad, not this person is bad, especially when you're talking about your own conference. Who's next? So you successfully oust Mike Johnson, the most conservative speaker we've ever had. Who can win that seat? Who's going to be the next speaker? And they're going to start that whole learning curve all over again. So all the the fumbled balls that we've had with Johnson the last 140 days, he's learning. He's a smart man. He's going to become a better speaker than he was before. So what's the game plan? Was the objective Hakeem Jeffries to be the next speaker? I mean, that's what I want to know, is like, what was the plan? And because we don't know what the second and third order plan was, it was a very obvious outcome. We knew exactly what was going to happen, and everybody was very transparent for it. It's hard to believe that it was anything other than a publicity stunt.
Time right now is 8:57. I do want to give you the opportunity to tell us, remind us, you're Philip Singleton. You're on my front porch, and I'm heading out to vote, and I have no idea who I'm going to vote for. Again, on the Republican ballot, there's 5 candidates. On the Democrat ballot, there's 2 candidates. Why should I vote for Philip Singleton ahead of the other 4 guys who are on that?
Well, for one, definitely draw a Republican ballot, a Republican primary ballot. So, and you got to go out and vote. So it's important that this race is really simple. There's there are 5 good people running for the election. I think that there's stark differences between all of us. Hopefully at this point you've had a chance to watch some of the debates. We've done 7 or 8 debates. And if you haven't, go look at our Facebook at Philip Singleton or singletonforcongress.com, link to our Facebook, and go check out some of those debates. Be an educated voter. But the moral of the story is, if you want the only person in the race that has been a consistent conservative, that has been, I'm at the top of every single scorecard that talks about conservative values, but then actually does the things he says he's going to do. I don't talk about wanting to fight against illegal immigration just on the campaign trail. I actually sponsored legislation like Georgia's anti-sanctuary city bill. I sponsored Save Girls Sports. I sponsored constitutional carry. And so it's important to elect someone that actually gets those things done. And I'm the only one that is willing to take the strategic path and actually understands how Congress works to be able to achieve some of those results. So there are other people in the race that will probably stand up and oppose the bad things, just as I will. I think that they're being genuine when they say that they're going to vote against this or vote against that. I think some of them are genuine, but that's where it ends. They're not going to go and spend the time and effort to actually get things done. You can see that through our legislative histories, especially, Carrollton's extremely important to me. Carroll County is an extremely important county in this race, and there's a lot of people in Carroll County that are going to default to their old state senator, and I just tell them, every time we spend 5 minutes looking at voting records and looking at legislation that's passed, about 85-90% of the time they change their vote. And so I encourage your listeners, go look it up. Don't vote for the same person you've always voted for. Look at what we've actually done in office. If you've been in office, you have a record, and make people stand on that record.
Philip Singleton, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program. Hopefully you guys have had a chance to watch our Community Voice programs where we've interviewed all the candidates in this race at least one time. Philip, good to see you again.
You too.
Thank you for coming over.
Always fun.
And thank you for watching and listening to this morning's Community Voice program. We have one more candidate for Congress tomorrow, a Democrat candidate. You can tune in for that program at 8:30 right here on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.